Okay.
There.
Hello. So today I have Parusha with me, and this is our 100th attempt to talk on a Zoom meeting, and we are miserably failing, by the way. So today we are gonna discuss about NEP. It's been a month since NEP 2020 came, and a lot of people have, advocated against and for it. But it's just now two amateurs, one engineering grad and one law grad, is gonna talk and share opinions.
But yeah,
Yeah. So if
law
you are
under.
interested, undergrad, law undergrad, I reframe myself. So if you're interested to watch, to understand, and to see our opinions, let's start. So NEP 2020 came after, I guess, 34 years. It
Yeah.
came, it was introduced in 1986 and then modified in 1992. And when BJP government came in its force, तो उन्होंने चेंज करने की कोशिश किया, बट स्मृति ईरानी थी तो कुछ हो नहीं पाया. दैट इज माय पर्सनल ओपिनियन. एंड कोशिश करता रहा, ऐसा नहीं था कि इट वाज स्किप्ड आउट ऑफ द माइंड, व्हिच इज समथिंग आई वुड से इट इज कूल that it was in their mind. They wanted to change, shape it since 15, which is a good move. And now 2020, the new NEP is here. And let's talk about from the beginning.
I think it's nicely packaged.
Hmm.
It's the structure, at least, it's nicely packaged. It's more or less the same thing, but presented in a different way, which is a good thing. We did need this reform. So the 10+2 system has now changed to 5-3-3-4 system.
Yeah.
The higher education has changed considerably. So now there's nothing like, I don't think we will ever use the term dropout now,
Oh
because
yeah.
in whatever
Now,
year you drop
yeah.
out, you come out with some kind of certification. That's very good. They are basically planning to make everything multidisciplinary and basically trying to, help kids with having basic literacy, numeracy,
Yeah.
which is commendable. It's a good
The goal
initiative.
is they have set a very good goal. कि by 2030 they are expecting colleges में 50% enrollment ratio आ जाएगा, and schools में they are trying to get to the 100% of enrollment ratio. So now the let's, if we talk about 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, the 5 thing is something I thought it is ये हो रहा है, but to bring the awareness, I guess that step has been taken. बच्चे जा रहे हैं प्री स्कूल्स में, बच्चे जा रहे हैं आंगनवाड़ी, बट आई गेस बिकॉज विलेजेस में कुछ चीजें हैं जहाँ पे लोग आज भी अपने बच्चों को स्कूल लेट भेज रहे हैं. मे बी टू प्रमोट दैट द सिस्टम इज बीइंग रीइंट्रोड्यूस्ड नाउ, एंड that's what I think about it.
This Anganwadi system and preschool system, Balwadika system, it did not exist prior to this. It does exist. In the more urban areas, preschools are more prevalent. In the rural areas, the Anganwadis are prevalent. And I wouldn't say there is no awareness, because I have been fortunate enough to be part of both the atmospheres. But I think when we talk about extremely remote areas or tribal areas, so to say,
Yeah.
their education at that primary age, it's just not available. एक तो वैसे वहाँ का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर उतना डेवलप नहीं है, मुश्किल से दे हैव प्राइमरी फ्रॉम फर्स्ट एंड ऑनवर्ड्स. सो देयर probably, yes, as you said, awareness regarding this is much more needed. ऐसा नहीं है कि ये चीज है नहीं, बट हाँ इसको एक पैकेज करके वापस
पैकेज कर दिया, जस्ट लाइक अपना लैंग्वेज का भी बैरियर निकल गया है. Now your native language, your mother tongue, and then English is there. Now these three things are packaged in a way कि ये सभी चीज सिखाई जाए बच्चों को. एजुकेशन में अभी टीचर्स का जो इन्वॉल्वमेंट है, विच इज समथिंग नाइस. अभी इन्वॉल्वमेंट बिल्कुल चेंज हो जाएगा. ये जो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पे होते हैं, या जो गेस्ट लेक्चरर्स होते हैं, या गेस्ट टीचर्स होते हैं, सब्स्टिट्यूट्स एंड ऑल, this all will be now streamlined.
A lot of powers regarding the handling of teachers, their qualifications and everything, that have been centralized.
Okay.
And that's why a lot of issues were there. A lot of conflict points were raised by other state governments, especially also with the political agenda, so to say. But points were raised that how a little bit of it is very centralized and it loses the beauty of being a concurrent subject. Which again, we'll see if the center can do it better, if the center can provide us with better teachers and they qualify them better, it's really good. Regarding the language, like you said, I'm like really happy that now regional languages will be a part of the curriculum, and it will be easier for parents also to teach the child at home. But again, like we were discussing the other time, and like Dhruv Bratti has discussed in his video, how English has not even been mentioned once. I tended to read that entire 66 pages of the policy. I couldn't find English anywhere, not even once. Or maybe I'm mistaken, please correct me. So jo Hindi hai, it's a lot of regions of India as well, people are not well versed with it. And English has served to be a better communicator. Plus, we need to connect with the other world. Plus, I was talking to somebody. She's an advocate and she's a Hindi medium. She studied in Hindi medium. So she's a very good person, has impeccable knowledge of law. But she said, I cannot go and advocate in the High Court, or I can definitely not go and advocate in the Supreme Court because the major language used there is English.
English itself, yeah.
So
one thing which I liked about this new NEP, about the vocational training, I really liked it. देखो, पंजाब का सिनेरियो बताता हूँ, कनाडा जाके भी लोग वहाँ प्लम्बिंग कर रहे हैं, लोग वहाँ पे जो मर्जी कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि वही काम बचा है वहाँ पे, नहीं एकदम से मिलेगा काम. और I saw outrage in public when they saw कि ऐसे कैसे हमारे बच्चे छोटा मोटा काम करेंगे. भाई जब कनाडा जाएंगे तुम्हारे बच्चे, फिर भी तो ये पॉइंट हमेशा रेज होता ही है. एंड वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग इज लिटरली समथिंग व्हेन kids will be sent to school without the bags, where their just co-curriculars will be focused. And this is something really interesting because back in the time अब Olympiads हो रहे थे या कुछ हो रहा था, तो that was something related to academics. Now something new has come, and I think it is a very appreciable move by government that vocational training has been a part of your academics now. And then comes to the point कि अब बच्चा बड़ा हो रहा है, तो उसको एक चॉइस में मिल रहा है स्कूल्स में. We used to admire foreign bodies that they have such good built foundations of education, and it's a really good news that a person can actually now choose anything they can want. Like if I would have the choice, I would have opted for psychology or sociology, because that really interested me. Now that's a very good step.
Just before we began this talk, my father came and he showed me, he said, did you read this article? I said, what happened? And he said, so Himachal has allegedly become the first state to implement this policy in the state. So though Meghalaya they had announced earlier that they were going to implement it, become the first state. But just kal raat ko Himachal has received the assent of the governor. And कहीं हिमाचल का नाम रोशन हो रहा है, मुझे बहुत खुशी हो रही है. Anyway, so the thing is, this policy is a long haul policy. It is going to take years and years, probably a decade or half a decade, to actually come on track and to be properly functional.
Yeah.
So the sooner we start, the better. Number one. Vocational training, while I was reading it and while I was trying to pick out what I think is debatable with the policy, so they are planning to change so much in the education sector, and now even a first year student will have some credibility to his education. So I think simultaneous reforms are needed in the employment sector as well, so that when kids come out like that, so they have somewhere to go to. Also with the vocational training, because small work is looked down upon in India.
Yeah. Yeah.
Working in cafes is uncool, or working. In fact, dude, it's really hard for
Hmm.
law students to find a proper nice internship on their
True.
own on merits.
Yeah.
So, because the employment sector is really harsh and they don't feel like employing us, so there needs to be a balance created between both of them, I think.
Now, moving on to the higher education, you talked about how nobody will be a dropout. I think startup owners will be really pins. अभी इन लोगों को इतना बुरा लगेगा ना, they can tell आगे जाके कि I'm a dropout, which is I think is a very good move कि आप किसी को एक सर्टिफिकेशन देके ही भेज रहे हो. And I was reading into it, and if you leave your exams, you leave your university, you can come back and give your exams later. Like you can take a break, and that is
Yeah.
something which a person can really use. Now this is not only affects from the outer view. If somebody is going through a mental toll, or somebody is not going through a good time, physically handicapped or mentally unstable, they can take their own time, which is, I guess, a very good move by government to bring up this. And I really appreciated this. Why was this not available when we needed it? Is the first question would come up to every single boomer आज के टाइम पे जो एनईपी पढ़ रहा है, सभी यही सोच रहे हैं.
Actually, dude, I am in my 4th year currently,
Hmm.
and how much would have loved to feel like this is the end of my bachelor education, but
So common entrance test is implemented now, but obviously excluding medical and law bodies. And I'm a little unsure about it because, see, now the common interest test has been implemented to a lot of institution, right? अभी सभी बच्चे उसके थ्रू जाएंगे. It is a standardized test, but I believe there is something I really want to, I'm expecting from education system and from our employment sector also, that to hire a person or to hire a student, right, on the basis of something besides education. Now, if that common entrance test has something non-academic, that would be really interesting to see.
in the policy what they've done is ek
Yeah.
to tum 11th 12th mein you can have the freedom of choice of these n number of subjects. Now they're not defined into brackets, so if you want to read mathematics with political science, go ahead, you are enrolled into a particular course. And at the side, if you're doing some extracurricular activities, for example dramatics or sports or anything, so what credits you gain there shall be added into the credits of your
Yeah.
course.
Yeah, that's nice.
So now we're scared of leaving our class or skipping an exam. So now we can gain that from some curricular activity that we actually enjoy doing.
True.
In madrasas, a lot of Maulvis teach the Muslim kids through Quran, and again they're learning conduct, and they're learning to read and write those scriptures, which again is literacy and numeracy. It is giving them in Jewish culture, they learn to read the Torah.
Okay.
So it's not about learning the scriptures, but in one way or the other, they are trying to teach them literacy and conduct and ethics. So could those things be credited and added to the curriculum? Wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah, exactly. And that's a very good move. I was.
It will when the policy actually unfolds and how they're going to do and what kind of resources are included. Is it only monetary or structural or teachers? We don't know exactly. When it will come out, I think we'll
Also,
get to see that.
I think I have a complaint because it did not focus on the rural sector very vividly. They talked about a little, but not vividly about the rural sector of the India. How are they going to implement education in very remote areas? जहाँ पे बिजली भी नहीं है, वहाँ पे education कैसे पहुँचेगा? That is a very big issue.
They did talk about digitization of everything, and digital libraries and e-repositories, and they're going to kind of reduce the bag and the weight of the bag, which is very good. But again, where other basic things are not there in the part of the country, how does one plan to provide them with all of this? Though I
Yeah.
did like their idea of, establishing libraries in every district,
Yeah.
and the idea of revolving around books and all of that, very commendable. But again, so much of infrastructure is needed.
True.
It's required to be built from zero.
There is
So
a
again,
government
long.
school. Exactly. There is something I want to talk about. There's a government school nearby my house. Two government schools. One is primary and one is secondary. And दीवार वगैरह टूटा हुआ है, बच्चा बच्चा बंक करके भाग रहा है. सी प्राइमरी किड्स तो ऐसा है ना कि उसको पेरेंट्स ही छोड़ने जा रहे हैं, पेरेंट्स ही लेने आ रहे हैं. सो दो guys are very in a good bubble. ठीक है. But when they grow up, they'll see independence, and the independence not in a very good form, bunking the classes, because we have seen videos on by media that there are teachers who are who are less educated to teach the students, and there are teachers who are non-willing to teach the students. The teachers are not coming, the students are not coming, the infrastructure is so bad, midday meals are a little distasteful to even see. They have talked about it that there will be a breakfast now, right? There will be.
Yeah.
That is a very good thought, but again, when we talk about the implementation, it is not mentioned how much money they will be depositing to a government school, कि एक उसका resource building पे कितना पैसा लग रहा है, which is something, if it would have been mentioned, it would have been so great, and it would have been implemented in a very good way, because now you have the figures, now you can talk about it. But if you don't have the figures, how you're going to talk about it is a very big question.
When I was in 10th standard, so I was in a convent. I still my 10th standard in an
Yeah.
ICSE education system. So when I came out of there, so I was clear from class 4 I wanted to pursue law. So I knew I would only pursue the humanities, and there was no school around, no public school around that, public or even private school around that would offer me humanities.
Oh.
I searched every nook and corner. There was not.
Oh.
And there is this government school literally adjacent to my house, and they obviously had humanities.
Okay.
But now, I, coming from a convent ICSE background, I felt like it's a shame for me to go there.
Like the first thought,
And
मैं
the
कैसे जा
first thought
सकता
is,
है?
how do I
How will I
manage?
go there? वहाँ का लोग कैसा कपड़ा पहनता है, ये आता है.
Exactly.
ये आता है ना? वहाँ का लोग कैसा कपड़ा पहनेगा, मेरा यूनिफॉर्म ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है.
But what I could see was the teachers may be, amazingly qualified, but the infrastructure was not appeasing for a student of 16 to, welcome it. So I think, especially in the rural areas, there is a strong need for, appeasing infrastructure so that children actually feel like going to school.
My Masters of Philosophy has been just reduced from education system.
There can be two ways of seeing this.
Hmm.
Because now the system is like this. If you drop out after 1 year of your bachelor's degree, you get the certification. If after 2 years, you get a diploma. If after 3 years, you get a degree. So if it's a 4-year course, you come out with a degree with research.
Oh,
so
okay.
Basically, they reduced this 1 year, but they also have this 5-year course, integrated course of bachelor's and master's.
Masters, yeah.
So if you drop out in the 3rd year, you have to spend a year or two with a master's degree, and then you can go for the PhD program. If it's a 4-year course, you can directly go to the PhD program, and if you did an integrated course, you still can go directly to the PhD program.
So after undergraduation, I can go for PhD.
Yes, if it's a 4-year course, you can go. I did want to discuss a point regarding the reservation, though.
Okay.
They haven't really tackled with the reservation point, because we have seen, people from SC/ST background or the other backward classes background, they do get some reservation. Usually that reservation is on the basis of marks. If you see for the medical examination or engineering examination. Regarding law also, it's the same. in higher competitive examinations, usually the age limit is compromised. So I think the problem here is not really tackled, because it has always been a point of debate that, we are probably putting less qualified professionals into the system by this. So I think if the government can probably provide some financial aid to them, so it would be better, not only to them, probably people who cannot afford the certain education. Financial support should be there, because this reservation and discrimination on the basis of marks, it has always been in debate, and it just was not really discussed in the policy. I think it should have been.
On that note, I end the first episode of Noobs Discussing, and we talked about NEP. If you think, wow, if you think that there's something you want to address, you want to talk about, or you want us to talk about, please let me know. And we will be coming again every week talking about something, and we'll be presenting our opinions. Thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day. Say bye, Parusha. Why are you so rude?
Bye-bye. Go and follow Patak's Cheek.
Thank you so much. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace out.